Dear President of the European Parliament, dear David, dear President of the Bundestag, lieber Wolfgang Schäuble, dear Presidents of the Portuguese and Slovenian Parliament, Eduardo and Igor, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of parliaments. Recently, the Commission secured the first 300 million doses of a potential coronavirus vaccine from the European company BioNTech. At the same time, the story of the company's co-founder and CEO made headlines. Ugur Sahin came to Germany from Turkey with his mother when he was 4 years old. He passed his high school exam in Köln and went on to study medicine. And today, with his wife, Özlem Türeci, the daughter of another immigrant from Turkey, he later founded the German company that developed a coronavirus vaccine in record time. Only shortly after the vaccine announcement, another news broke. Sad news this time. A ship with over 120 migrants on board had sunk right off the coast of Libya. And according to reports, 74 people died. In another incident, Spanish rescuers were able to save 110 refugees in the Mediterranean. But later, and David, you mentioned it, later on board their ship, a 6-month-old baby, Joseph, died. Well, these two examples highlight just the two of the aspects we have to think about when we discuss the issue of migration. On one hand, people coming from a migration background will contribute to growth, innovation, and social dynamism in a country, and we speak too seldom about that. And on the other hand, there are still far too many heartbreaking stories of migrants risking their lives on their way to Europe. And both examples make clear why it is so important for the European Union to build a system that manages migration in the long term and which is fully grounded in European values. And indeed, this is why the European Commission at the end of September adopted its new Pact on Migration and Asylum. Migration is a complex issue. David, you mentioned all the different pillars. And there are many genuine concerns that have to be brought into balance. We have to talk about the people seeking international protection or a better life, exploited by ruthless smugglers. We have to talk about the concerns of countries on the EU's external borders, such as Italy, Greece, and Spain. They worry that the efforts needed to manage migration may exceed their capacities. They need the solidarity of others. And of course, we have to talk about those member states that are concerned that their own national system for asylum or integration will not be able to cope in the event of large amounts of migrants. The current system no longer works. Our new Pact on Migration and Asylum offers a fresh start. The first issue we are focusing on is a robust and fair management of external borders, including more efficient and faster procedures. I think this is crucial. So it comprises pre-entry screening, an asylum procedure, and of course, where applicable, returns. With this procedure, simple cases will be managed much faster and more effectively than today. At the same time, it will guarantee appropriate treatment to everybody. The second fundamental element is the fair sharing of responsibility on one hand and solidarity on the other side. Those countries that fulfill their legal and moral duties, or those which are more exposed than others, must be able to rely on European Union to share responsibility in case of need. And each member state, without exception, must support member states under pressure. And they must ensure that the Union meets its humanitarian obligations. The new system is based on cooperation and flexible forms of support. So this gives a choice to member states on how they contribute, but it always guarantees that the required support is given, and that especially at times of pressure on individual member states. Thirdly, managing migration well starts, as you've said, David, in the home countries of those who come to Europe. People do not leave their home easily and embark on such a dangerous journey. So it's poverty, it's the lack of perspective that are the strong driving forces to leave the home country. The European Union will therefore look and work towards tailor-made and mutual beneficial, this is important, partnerships with third countries. These will help to address shared challenges, such as human trafficking. And of course, they will help to develop legal pathways. And they will tackle the effective implementation of readmission agreements. With our package, we also seek to boost a common EU system for returns, to make EU migration rules more effective and credible. And lastly, we are also proposing ways to better benefit from legal migration into Europe. People who come to Europe legally need clear rights, and they need to feel welcomed. They need to be given all necessary opportunities to realize their potential in our societies. And therefore, next week, the Commission will present an action plan on integration and inclusion for 2021 to 2027. As you know, our proposal on the pact was preceded by extensive consultation with member states and the European Parliament. You know that Vice President Margrethe Skinas and Commissioner for Home Affairs Ylva Johansson traveled from capital to discuss ideas and proposals and were in the Parliament. Well, after this, it is clear, and I must say it, a solution on migration that fully satisfies everyone does not exist. We need to come together on this issue, and we need to discuss and we need to find compromises. So national parliaments, the European Parliament, the national governments. We need to acknowledge our differences and we need to overcome it, but we need to move forward now. It should not get stuck. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, one of our co-hosts, you, Wolfgang Schäuble, spoke of our European societies having a rendezvous with globalization. And these words are still true today. Indeed, migration has always been a fact for Europe, and it always will be. It enriches our societies, it brings new talent to our countries when well managed. But if not, and we know that by experience, it has the potential to divide us. So given the urgency of local situations in several member states, there is no point in fighting the battles of yesterday. We need a sustainable solution, and we need it now. We owe it to the migrants, we owe it to the refugees, and we owe it to our citizens. Many thanks for listening to me, and I look forward to the discussion.